RyanRXP asks, what are your thoughts on Elseworld/multiverse stories? I have read Batman Thrill Killer and Batman Vampire. Can you, or anyone who reads this comment, recommend any other Elseworld/multiverse stories? What are my thoughts on Elseworld? Love them. No problem whatsoever. It's a great chance to expand the character that you're playing around with. Effectively, you look at things like The Dark Knight Returns, which is an Elseworld story, effectively. And you look at Watchmen, which again is also really, or started life out as an Elseworld story. So you can get amazing stories out of Elseworlds. So what I've done is I've picked out 4 stories which you shouldn't have any problems picking up as kind of a recommendation for you. I didn't include Batman, at least I don't think I've got any Batman in here, just because of the fact that you mentioned that you've read the Vampire Batman books, and there's an awful lot of Batman Elseworld stuff. Gotham by Gaslight, Batman Black and White, which I suppose technically isn't Elseworldy, but you kind of get the idea. So this is just stuff that is based on mainstream superheroes. There's actually quite a couple, well, there's more than a few Superman books in here, because Superman's had his fair share of Elseworld stories as well. First one I would recommend you try to track down is this little gem. This is Superman Red Sun. The premise takes place, obviously, in the at the start of the Second World War, or sort of the end of the Second World War, and, you know, the rise of communism within Stalin's Russia. However, what happens if Krypton had exploded 12 hours later? That is the premise. What if, or earlier, I'm not really quite sure, I can't remember. What would have happened if Krypton had exploded 12 hours earlier or later? The Earth's rotation, him entering the atmosphere, he wouldn't have ended up in America. He would have ended up in Russia. Well, it's not even Russia, it was the USSR. And that's what this book is about. It is really an interesting take on Superman, the red hero, sort of thing. And, you know, as it says, there is only one superpower now. It's a really, really amazing story. Absolutely fantastic. Ain't It Cool News said, you have to admire the cleverness, there's just no way around it. The London Sunday Times said, Miller takes a massive gamble here with one of the world's most enduring icons. And, you know, the ending of this is amazing as well. It has a really good twist ending, which I absolutely love. So, yeah, give that one a shot. Next off, another Superman title here. Superman Earth 1. If you want a updated, modernised take on the origin of Superman, give this a shot. The Earth 1 series are, or it's not a case of are, because that implies there are multiple. There is not. There is, at this point, singular, one Superman Earth 1 book, and there are no other Earth 1s. These are direct trade paperbacks. They don't come out as single issues, they're just standalone trades based around the characters in the Earth 1 universe. And this is the take on Superman within Earth 1. It is really, really good. Really, really solid. I highly recommend it. Next up, here's a one which is definitely under the Elseworlds banner. This is Justice League The Nail. Justice League The Nail is, again, actually, you know what? Forget it. All of these basically have Superman as one of the main characters. This actually doesn't. What would the universe be like if all... Well, it starts off, actually. It's in the first page. For the want of a nail, a shoe was lost. For the want of a shoe, a horse was lost. For the want of a horse, the knight was lost. For the want of a knight, the battle was lost. So it was a kingdom was lost. All for the want of a nail. And that's basically what it is. Essentially, the Kents go out for their run, and it's the run where they're supposed to be driving past the field where baby Kal-El and his little rocket ship crashes. Ah, but there's a nail in the tyre. For the want of a nail, the Kents never went out that day, and they never found baby Kal-El. What would the DC universe be like without Superman? Give it a shot. You might actually quite enjoy it. It is really, really good. I do enjoy the nail. And then finally, we've got my favourite Elseworlds story of all time. It's not The Dark Knight Returns. It is this, Kingdom Come. What happens after... this book is everything that I love about comic books, because, as a lot of you may know, in the mid-90s, comic books got incredibly dark. All of the heroes had to go through incredible trials and tribulations. Superman had to die. Batman had to get his back broken. Spawn came on the scene. All of these anti-heroes became hugely, massively popular. Guys like Wolverine, who aren't superheroes, they're totally anti-heroes, and all of that stuff. And they became sort of the big staple, and, you know, a lot of them have stuck around and a lot of them haven't. But there was an awful lot of dark angst, thanks in no small part to books like Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns. That isn't what those books were trying to talk about. There was no intention on the part of the writers to darken comic books. There was a serious message which a lot of creators missed out on, and it ultimately led to the 90s dark era of comic books. Kingdom Come is the book that basically puts the brakes on it and says, screw that, let's go back to what these heroes are. This book, arguably, can only come out of DC Comics because of the fact that their heroes, unlike the Marvel characters, are icons. And I don't mean social icons in terms of icons that you look on a billboard or a marquee and you go, oh, there's Spider-Man, I recognise him, he's an icon. No, I don't mean that. I mean, like the gods among men. This is essentially the tale of what happens when the gods go, and what happens to Earth afterwards, and then, ultimately, what happens when the gods come back. Kingdom Come is my favourite Elseworlds story. It is superb in every sense of the word. I love it dearly. And Superman's just a badass. And again, the ending is stupendous. It's really, really good. Because at the end of the day, this isn't really a spoiler, but if you've read it, you will know what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, Kingdom Come doesn't rest on the heroes. It rests on one human being, one child, to make the decision for everybody as to whether or not there is a right way to go with superheroes, and there totally is. Kingdom Come is an outstanding piece of fiction, and I absolutely love it. So there you go. I hope that answers your question in regards to some Elseworlds stories for you to check out. Not interested in delving into the mainstream? By all means, go pick up some Elseworlds. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.